So I open up today's devotion with a question. Have you ever whined to God? As a way of confession today, I have been whining to God about weather in upstate New York. Maybe some of you can relate to that. Especially the up and down nature of the temperature. And here's the reason for my whining, because it wreaks havoc with the beehives that we manage. Sunshine to rain to snow to rain to sunshine back to snow again. And the fluctuation in the temperatures will kill a whole beehive in a few short hours. And it's really easy to lose those hives in the variation, especially the variation of the temperature. It's also way more difficult to lose those hives after handling them well throughout the winter in the difficult weather, just to have them die here in April. Therefore, to be honest with you, I have been whining. That's my confession for this devotional. While in the midst of my whine, God reminded me of a devotional from John Piper about weather, and that I needed to return to it and reread that devotional. Therefore, today's devotional has become that devotion. And it's taken from John Piper's devotional book titled A Godward Life. It's actually book 2. And the title that Piper gave this devotional is The Great Work of God, Reign. And he subtitled it A Thanksgiving Meditation on Job chapter 5, verses 8 through 10. So here we go. I want to read that to you today. Need to put my reading glasses on because I'm getting older and this devotional is not giant lettering. Here we go. The Great Work of God in Range from John Piper. Thanksgiving Meditation, Job 5, 8 through 10. But as for me, I would seek God, and I would place my cause before God, who does great and unsearchable things, wonders without number. He gives rain on the earth and sends water on the fields. And then Piper writes this as the devotional. If you said to someone, my God does great and unsearchable things, he does wonders without number, and they responded, really? Like what? Would you say to them, like rain? When I read these verses from Job recently, I felt at first the way I did on hearing some bad poetry that went something like this. Let me suffer, let me die, just to win your hand. Let me even climb a hill or walk across the land. Even? If I would suffer and die to have your hand, and even walk across the land, as if walking across the land were more sacrificial than dying. This sounded to me to be a joke. But Job was not joking. God does great and unsearchable things, wonders without number. He gives rain on the earth. In Job's mind, rain really is one of the great unsearchable wonders that God does. So when I read this a few weeks ago, I resolved not to treat it as meaningless pop musical lyrics. I decided to have a conversation with myself, which is what I mean by meditation. Is rain a great and unsearchable wonder wrought by God? Picture yourself as a farmer in the Near East, far from any lake or stream. A few wells keep the family and animals supplied with water, but if the crops are going to grow and the family is to be fed from month to month, water has to come from another source on the fields. From where? Well, the sky. The sky? Water will come out of the clear blue sky? Well, not exactly. Water will have to be carried in the sky from the Mediterranean Sea over several hundred miles and then be poured out on the fields from the sky. Carried? How much does water weigh? Well, if 1 inch of rain falls on 1 square mile of farmland during the night, it would be 27,878,400 cubic feet of water, which is 206,300,160 gallons, which is 1,650,501,280 pounds of water. That's heavy. So how does it get up into the sky and stay up there if it's so heavy? Well, it gets up there by evaporation. Really? That's a nice word. What does it mean? It means that the water stops being water for a while so it can go up and not down. I see. Then how does it get down? Well, condensation happens. What's that? The water starts becoming water again by gathering around little dust particles between 0.00001 and 0.0001 centimeters wide. That's small. What about the salt? Salt. Yes, the Mediterranean Sea is salt water. That would kill the crops. What about the salt? Well, the salt has to be taken out. Oh, so the sky picks up 1 billion pounds of water from the sea, takes out the salt, carries the water or whatever it is when it is not water for 300 miles, and then dumps it, now turned into water again, on the farm. Well, it doesn't dump it. If it dumped 1 billion pounds of water on the farm, the wheat would be crushed. So the sky dribbles 1 billion pounds of water down in little drops. And they have to be big enough to fall for 1 mile or so without evaporating, and small enough to keep from crushing the wheat stalks. How do all these microscopic specks of water that weigh 1 billion pounds get heavy enough to fall, if that's the way I can ask the question? Well, it's called coalescence. What's that? It means the specks of water start bumping into each other and join up to get bigger. And when they are big enough, they fall. Just like that. Well, not exactly. Because they would just bounce off each other instead of joining up if there is no electric field present. What? Never mind. Take my word for it. I think instead I'll just take Job's word for it. I still don't see why drops ever get to the ground, because if they start falling as soon as they are heavier than the air, they would be too small not to evaporate on the way down. But if they wait to come down, what holds them up till they are big enough not to evaporate? Yes, I am sure there's a name for that too, but I am satisfied for now. By any name, this is a great and unsearchable thing that God has done. I think I should be thankful, lots more thankful than I am. That devotional was taken from, again, Piper's book, The Godward Life. I thought it was an amazing devotional about rain. And maybe I shouldn't whine about the weather as much as I do when it's bad. Peace and blessings, Pastor Scott. If you like this video and you want to see more of it, please press the subscribe button, and you'll be connected to our YouTube site, and where we have more devotionals and our Sunday morning messages. Also, if you would like to follow us, press the like button, and you can follow us on Facebook. Peace and blessings, Pastor Scott.